Children, before doing the subtraction of integers, let us see what is the meaning of inverse of an integer. Additive inverse of an integer. So when we started the integers class, I have told you for every positive integer there is a negative integer also, isn't it? And for every negative integer there is a positive integer. So like for every positive aspect there is a negative or opposite aspect. So similarly for every positive number there is a negative number, right? So we know that for positive 1 there is negative positive 1. What is the inverse? What is the opposite of positive 1? Opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. Then if we take negative 1, the opposite of negative 1 or inverse, that is called inverse. Opposite means inverse, just opposite, right? So for positive 1, the inverse is negative 1. For negative 1, the inverse is positive 1. So what is the inverse of positive 25? The inverse of positive 25 is negative 25. Then tell me what is the inverse of negative 100? Negative 100, the inverse of negative 100 is positive 100. So every negative number there is inverse, that will be the positive of that number, and for every positive number there will be inverse, that is the negative of that given number, right? Now can you say the inverse of minus 256? The inverse of 256 is positive 256. Positive 256. Because if we add a number and its inverse, we get, see, the inverse of minus 256 is positive 256. If we add these two, minus 256 plus 256, we get, so in the last class we have studied the rule of addition, that is, see, we have to add a negative number and a positive number, right? So positive, negative is 256 and positive 256. How to add a negative and a positive? Take the difference or subtract the greater from the greater number, we have to subtract the smaller number. Here both the numbers are same, 256, 256, right? If we subtract, what we get? We get 0. Then put the greatest numbers, and here greater and smaller, no number because both are same. So the answer is 0. So a number and its inverse, if we add, we get 0. That is called the additive inverse. So here additive inverse of minus 256 is positive 256. Similarly, the additive inverse of positive 256 is minus 256, because if we add these two, an integer and its additive inverse, if we add, we get 0 as answer. So you must understand this, that is additive inverse of a given integer is just opposite of that number. Understand? So that you have to remember when you do the subtraction, this concept should be clear to you. That is additive. What is the additive inverse of a number? Did you understand what is the meaning of additive inverse? Yes, again I will tell you, that is additive inverse of 300. That is positive 300 is additive inverse of positive 300 is negative 300. Then what is the additive inverse of negative 300? Negative 300, the additive inverse is just opposite of negative 300, that is positive 300. Because if we add these two, we get the answer 0. An integer and its additive inverse, if we add, we get 0 as the answer. Okay children, I hope it is clear to you what is additive inverse of a given integer. Okay.